My name is Natalie Taylor, and I'm a content marketing writer here at Feedvisor. I'm joined by Michael Begg, co-founder and chief strategist at AMZ Advisors. But before we get started, I want to remind everyone that we will be sending out a link to today's recording, and there will be time for a Q&A at the end of the presentation. So if you have questions throughout, we encourage you to enter them into the space provided, and we'll do our best to get to all of them. According to data from our 2019 consumer survey, 44% of consumers do not go past the second page of search results when looking for a product to buy on Amazon. To ensure visibility with your target audience, your product must rank highly across both organic and paid search. Today, Mike will be outlining the importance of having both an Amazon PPC and SEO strategy, and how the two will improve your discoverability and increase conversions, including the differences between SEO and PPC ads, how Amazon's A9 algorithm works, key metrics to track and what they mean for your ad strategy, and ways to improve your organic and paid search rank on Amazon. On that note, Mike, I'll let you take it from here.
Great, Natalie. Thank you for the introduction, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm excited to be here to share some information with you today. Just to start off the call, I just want to talk a little bit about myself, my business, so you guys understand my background. I am the co-founder and chief strategist at AMZ Advisors. Prior to getting into the e-commerce space, I was working as a consultant in the big four companies. I was looking kind of for a new way to create a business for myself, and private label was kind of how I started. I built two brands that I ended up selling. And ever since then, I've kind of been consulting other companies on how to grow their Amazon sales. So between myself and my two partners at AMZ, we have a combined 20 plus years of experience. And today we're just going to be talking about how Amazon SEO and PPC can kind of work together to help you increase your overall sales and get you those growth multiples that you're looking for. Just for a quick overview about our company, 2019 was our biggest year of managing advertising on Amazon. We managed about $10 million in annual spend. And since we started our company, we've generated over $300 million in sales for our clients. We work with companies from one-man operations up to Fortune 50 corporations. So we kind of handle the entire spectrum, and we have a lot of different experience working with companies at that have different budgets to commit towards advertising and the Amazon platform. And finally, we are an Amazon Advertising Partner Program member, meaning that we have exclusive meetings with Amazon, beta updates. We get to test everything. So we're kind of on the front hand edge of the advertising platform on Amazon. So now to get into the presentation a little bit, we're going to start with some very basic background on Amazon SEO and Amazon PPC. I'm sure this is going to be a reminder for most people, but it's a good way for us to kind of get started to talk more into the higher level strategy down the road. So every single product on Amazon has an ASIN, and each ASIN is indexed for certain search terms on Amazon based on the SEO content. And the SEO content is your product title, your bullet points, your product description, your back-end search terms, and your subject matter fields. When you go to Amazon and you search for any search term, the most relevant products are going to show up at the top of the search result page, and that's because of Amazon SEO. And the reason that works is that a product is going to be indexed for a specific keyword because that keyword is present within your product title, your bullet points, or your other SEO content areas. And the way to increase the organic visibility for that keyword is to actually get sales on that keyword when the customer comes to the search page. So now that you have a basic understanding of what SEO is like, how many are actually running PPC ads on Amazon for their accounts right now? Let's just take a few seconds to see how everyone answers. All right. And okay, so everyone is pretty familiar with PPC. So the next slide, we're just going to have a basic overview on that for the people that aren't familiar with it. So you can kind of just understand that a little bit more. PPC is a keyword-based auction on Amazon where sellers bid to place an ad for a specific keyword. The auction is a second price auction, meaning that you're never going to pay what you're actually bidding. You're just going to pay more than the second place bid. So for example, if you're bidding $1.50 and I'm bidding $1 on a keyword, you're going to spend $1.01 to beat my bid. So your product will show up for that keyword, for that search term. When you're running PPC, you have the option of running automatic or manual campaigns, and automatic campaigns take the SEO content that you created in your product descriptions, your titles, your bullet points, your backend fields, and it's going to place your product and place the ads based on what you have in that content fields and what your product is indexed for. On the other hand, you have manual campaigns, which allows you to bid on specific keywords that you believe are relevant for your product. And you can utilize different match types to kind of get the result you're looking for from broad, phrase, and exact. And driving more sales for specific search terms is ways that you can kind of increase that organic visibility by getting conversions on those search terms. So the way that products show up organically on Amazon is through the A9 ranking algorithm. And there's a few different factors that we've experienced in our years of consulting for clients on how the ranking algorithm actually works and what it's based on. So the four most important factors are sales history, which means how long has a product been selling on the Amazon platform, sales velocity, which means how many sales has it achieved in that time, conversions, meaning what's the conversion rate of a shopper coming to the page and whether they're actually buying the product. And pricing is how does the price compare to similar products? If your pricing is not within a certain range or not competitive with the other products, your conversions are going to be lower, your sales velocity is going to be lower, your sales history isn't going to matter as much. So you're actually going to show up worse for organic results. And this is why it's important to be able to compete on price on Amazon, to be able to get the conversions and really to start building that sales history and the sales velocity so you can show up higher in the ranking algorithm. When you're getting started on Amazon, there's a few best practices you can do for SEO and PPC. And we're just going to run through these quickly. On the SEO side, when you're creating your SEO content, it's important to take your product title. You should incorporate 2 to 3 search terms, probably the most important search terms in your product title, so that when the customer comes to your page, they know exactly what it's for, and so that the search algorithm can pick that up as soon as they hit the page. You want to use phrases. So the Amazon algorithm will take different keywords within your product content and combine the keywords, and then they will index you based on that. But if there's a specific phrase you want to rank for example, dog bed, you should put the phrase dog bed within your title. You shouldn't separate the words and then hope that Amazon pulls them together so you can actually get indexed for it. So using phrases is an important part of Amazon SEO when you're trying to rank for a specific term. There's also a certain hierarchy of where you should put your most important keywords. And that starts with your product title, where you should be using 2 to 3. Then the next and most important section is the bullet points, and then the back-end search terms, the subject matter fields, and then the product description. So so you should put your most important keywords in those fields in that order, to make sure that your listings are optimized for SEO. And then finally, you should avoid keyword stuffing. I think maybe all of us have been to an Amazon page where you see a product description and it's literally just a bunch of different keywords thrown together. Doesn't make any sense. It doesn't flow. And Amazon actually doesn't want that. Keyword stuffing is bad for your organic ranking. It can also hurt your conversions because, I mean, shoppers aren't stupid. If they see that in your listing, they're going to know something's up. So it's important to be able to write smooth, flowing content so you can actually create good SEO content for Amazon. Then when we come to the PPC side, there's a few different things you want to look at for just basic best practices. When you're running an automatic campaign, you want to have one SKU or one ASIN per campaign so that your keyword discovery that's occurring through these automatic campaigns is not influenced by a different product, having it in the same campaign. So separating that out can help you identify the most profitable keywords for your other campaigns, for future manual campaigns. And then likewise, when you're doing a manual campaign, you want to have at least one SKU per ad group. You don't want to use different SKUs that are at different price points because that's going to affect your ACoS. It's going to affect your spend, and it can cause other problems with your overall campaign management. When you're starting to run campaigns, you should always start bidding higher so that you're getting the impressions and the spend. It's easier to optimize for profitability or for whatever your goals are with advertising down the road as you're actually collecting the data. But if you're not getting aggressive in the beginning, you're never going to actually know what's going on and where your most profitable keywords are. And then finally, as you identify the most profitable keywords, you're going to start using phrase and exact match so that you're getting more impressions and potentially more sales on those keywords. And the reason we want to do that is because we want to create what is called the Amazon Flywheel. And this isn't something I invented. This is a term that's becoming more and more popular, but a lot of sellers don't understand how it actually works. So if we look down here at the bottom, we have our SEO content. So if you're a new seller, you're coming to Amazon and you're creating certain content for your listing. So when you're creating this SEO content, you're creating the product titles, the bullet points, product descriptions, back-end search terms. All of that is helping you rank organically on Amazon. And as you start, you'll start getting sales, and then you'll come over here to the social proof. Your search rank will improve. You'll start getting more traffic. Maybe you'll start getting customer reviews and seller feedback. And all of that is going to benefit your advertising as we come up here. Because when a customer sees an ad, it's important for them to have that social feedback, which is why, or that social proof. And that's why Amazon has created programs like Early Reviewer Program and now Amazon Vine for Seller Central to try to get you those initial reviews so you can get that feedback and actually make your advertising more profitable. When you're at the point where you're ready to run advertising is where you can really actually use your advertising to benefit your SEO and organic rank on Amazon. And the way to do that is through ranking campaigns, where you're going to take the keywords that your research is showing are going to generate the most organic sales. And then by advertising on those, you'll be able to generate more organic sales by increasing the visibility. And this all feeds back into itself. As you get more of those sales, you'll get more feedback, more social proof. It'll improve your advertising, and your sales will just keep growing as you keep going through this cycle. So this is kind of how the Amazon Flywheel works. And this is where we're going to really understand how to partner our advertising with our SEO to really get the sales results and the growth we're looking for on the Amazon platform. So we're going to take another quick survey here. Do you know if your Amazon listings are retail ready? I'll just give you a few seconds here. And it looks about half of you understand whether your listings are retail ready. It's a term from Amazon. It's not something that's we're using specifically. So we'll just run through that quickly so everybody can kind of understand it. I think we will, if I can get to the next page. There we go. Okay, so retail readiness is, like I said, it's a term from Amazon. It refers to having certain aspects of your product detail pages ready to advertise on Amazon. So it's having your product pages optimized for conversions when someone comes to your page. And that means it's going to do better for SEO. It's going to do better for PPC. So it's very, very important to be successful on the Amazon platform to understand what retail readiness is. So in Amazon's opinion, what makes a product detail page retail ready is starting with the product title, meaning that it's specific to what the product is. It clearly calls it out. It doesn't have a lot of unnecessary keywords. It's not distracting the customers that reach the page. Then you need to have your bullet points, which clearly communicate the benefits to the customer. You're going to have your product images. And the one way that we utilize product images is to call out the main features. So we'll have our initial photo of the product with the white background. And then we're really going to focus on the other photos, communicating the benefits to the end customer, because it's a lot easier for someone to look at the photos and get the summary than it is for them to actually go through the listing and read the bullet points. So it's always a good practice to kind of call that stuff out right away. As you move beyond that, you have your reviews and star rating. So Amazon recommends that you have at least 15 reviews before you start advertising your products on Amazon, and you have at least a 3.5 star rating. A lot of times, it's not always possible to get to that 15 review. It's very hard to get reviews on Amazon, just part of the reason that they're rolling out the Vine program to Seller Central users. So being able to use that, you can help yourself boost those reviews. But, if you're still looking at, you're at 5 reviews, 6 reviews, 7 reviews, whatever it is, below 15, you're probably in a good enough position to advertise, but it's not technically considered retail ready in Amazon's eyes. And then finally, the last 2 things you want to have are the buy box. Obviously, you need to be the seller that actually is selling the product and you're not competing with someone else, and having A+ content on your page, which will actually help your conversion rates and can help generate more sales. It just gives a more professional feel to everything. So when your products are retail ready is really when you want to start moving towards the advertising phase and really trying to start pushing the sales and increasing the organic rank on the SEO side. So when you're getting started with advertising, your first steps are going to be to create the automatic campaigns, to do keyword discovery for you, get the best keywords, then create manual campaigns to start driving sales, and create branded campaigns to start protecting your brand and start driving more people, creating more awareness for your brand on Amazon. Once you've kind of gone through those first steps, you really need to focus on the right side of the page here, which is getting to scale. And getting to scale on Amazon requires using different search terms or different campaign types. And what you're going to look at using is your sponsored brands, sponsored displays, ranking campaigns, competitor campaigns, and off-platform traffic. And the thing that's probably going to give you the most benefit and lead to the most growth multiples are these ranking campaigns, where you're taking specific keywords that are relevant to your products. And that by getting to the top of page 1, spending the money and investing into the spend on these keywords to get the conversions and to actually start driving that flywheel to increase visibility on the SEO side is really going to come through these ranking campaigns. And this is where a lot of sellers kind of fall into a trap of where they're concerned about their profitability. And the way you need to look at advertising is it's not just from pure profitability standpoint, it's how is the advertising actually contributing to my brand's organic sales on Amazon? And that's where a lot of companies fall. They're afraid of investing the money in the advertising, or they don't see the return on the advertising dollars they're spending, and they're a little concerned about it. So we're going to talk quickly about what's called the ACoS, which is the traditional efficiency measure of Amazon advertising, and a new term called TACoS, which again is getting more popular, but it's very important to understand how it works and how it can actually lead to increased sales for your account over time. So traditionally, when you're looking at Amazon advertising, you have your ACoS, and that's equal to your advertising spend divided by your advertising sales. And like I said, this is really a measure of advertising efficiency. It's not there to really help you increase your overall sales or drive those organic sales, which are really going to be your most profitable. What it's going to do is it's going to give you the best return on your advertising dollars and your advertising budget. And this is exactly where companies fall into the trap, is like, oh, all right, I'm getting a good return on my advertising budget. I'm going to keep managing by ACoS. And that's what leads to slower account growth over time. You may still grow. You may still get more visibility. People may start discovering your brand other ways and start purchasing your products more. But it's really not going to lead to any growth multiple that can really take your company to a whole new level. And by using TACoS, which is total advertising cost of sales, is the way you can kind of take that next step to actually ranking your products on page 1 for certain terms. And it requires more investment on the advertising side, and it also requires measuring your efficiency a little bit different. So TACoS is equal to your advertising spend divided by your total Amazon sales. And what this is really measuring is your advertising's contribution to organic sales growth. So over time, what you should be seeing, if you're creating the correct ads and you're using ranking campaigns the right way, you should be seeing your TACoS going down, because your organic sales should be increasing at a rate that's greater than your advertising spend. And if it's not, that's showing you you're doing something wrong on the advertising side, or you're not generating enough organic keywords, enough organic sales through the keywords you're bidding on, or you need to actually change the keywords you're focused on because there's just not enough traffic for you to really make the return on your money on the advertising side. And when you make that shift to focusing your advertising and managing your advertising by tacos instead of ACOS is where you can really get that growth multiple and start seeing your sales taking off on Amazon. So just to kind of summarize everything, it's important to be able to combine SEO with PPC to kind of help you achieve your sales goals. So the basis of Amazon starts with doing your keyword research correctly, and that's for your SEO content as well as your advertising. So by creating good SEO content, you're going to be able to start ranking your products you're going to start indexing for more keywords on the Amazon platform. You're going to start driving more organic sales. And then that's kind of going to be the basis of where your PPC can really take over and really take you to the next level. You should focus your PPC on the keywords with the maximum organic visibility in your product category or that are related to your product, because you should know that if you're getting to the top of page 1 for that search term, the return that you're going to get on your advertising sales is going to increase your organic sales rank, because each one of those sales you're getting on a specific search term is a relevancy signal to Amazon for that specific search term. So when you're showing relevancy for a search term, Amazon will start showing you higher, more customers that are coming to the page organically will start buying your product, and that's where you'll really see your sales taking off. When you're managing your advertising, you should really be focusing on at least having a break-even ACOS, or focus on decreasing your tacos over time. The way we work with our clients is we tell them straight up, hey, like, you're gonna need to invest in PPC initially. We're not gonna make money from our advertising sales, so let's not even worry about it. Let's worry about getting the increase in the overall organic sales by ranking for specific search terms on the Amazon platform. And then finally, it's important to kind of be aggressive when you're going for these keywords. If you're not spending aggressively enough, there's no way you're gonna get to page 1. And then some certain categories, it may not make sense financially, and the return might not even make sense. For example, in the supplement category, you can get keyword bids that are sometimes $15 or higher per click. And you need to understand that's not realistic if you're selling a protein to be able to kind of compete when your costs are that high. But if your price point still makes sense, you can still make the investment on it. The real benefit is when you're kind of looking at these categories where the cost per clicks aren't out of control yet. And by getting aggressive at that point, even if it's $2, $3 a click, if you're starting to get those sales and those conversions on a search term, for example, let's say we're advertising dog beds. If we're bidding on an exact match for the search term dog beds, the cost per click might be high, but every conversion we get on that search term, dog beds, is a relevancy signal to Amazon that's going to say, hey, this product is relevant. People are buying it when they're searching this. Maybe we should show it higher in the organic side. And that's kind of where you'll start to see those growth multiples take effect. So every sale, every conversion you get on that search term, the more you're going to improve in the search results and the more organic sales you're going to drive. And that's really where you're going to see your Amazon business start to take off. And that's more or less what I have to cover today, Natalie. I don't know if you have any specific questions or anything that you want to ask me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Mike. Before we get into the Q&A, to the audience, for more insights into how brands are leveraging PPC and SEO strategies on Amazon, you can download our new 2020 report, Brands and Amazon in the Age of E-commerce. It's brand new. It just came out yesterday. And the report includes a breakdown of how brands use Amazon to fulfill various business objectives, the state of Amazon advertising, including brands' monthly ad spend, and which types of ad campaigns drive the highest ROAS, and leading benefits for brands selling on Amazon. So you can use the link right here to download your free report. And we will dig into the Q&A, but before that, we have another brief poll that you should see on your screens now. As always, if you'd like to learn more about any of the ongoing initiatives we have here at Feedvisor, or if you're interested in learning more about AMZ advisors, please connect with us. All right. Now let's get into some questions. First question we have here, what is a good ACOS or TACOS to target?
Yeah, that's a very, very tough question. Like I said, I really focus on the break-even ACOS when I'm advertising. So if I know that my margin on my product is, for example, 30%, I might start targeting an ACOS of at least 30%, or if it's 40%, go higher. You shouldn't be worried about making money on your advertising sales. The goal should be to really start driving the organic sales. Now, if we're talking about a TACOS, again, this really depends on the opportunities within the organic search terms for your specific product. What we try to target for our clients is to get under 15%. We start there, and then the goal is to obviously drive that number down. So if you're doing that type of strategy correctly, it should be easy to get a TACOS below 10% or more. So you're actually really driving the sales that the sales on the organic side to help you grow your account more.
Okay, next question we have here. How has the A9 algorithm shifted the weighting of keyword importance in the titles versus bullet points versus the description? I heard the title was 50% weighted, but now they've supposedly decreased it.
Yeah, it's obviously there's no evidence to actually prove any of this. This is all completely speculation. The exact percentages, no one really knows unless you're working at Amazon on the inside. But when we've come to the actual research of seeing what works the best and where the most indexing is occurring and how we're showing up, it still is heavily on the title. And again, it's following that hierarchy that I mentioned before. So having your most important keywords in the title is where you want to start, then going to your bullet points, then going to your back-end search terms, then your subject matter fields, and the product description should be last. We've seen the least benefit from optimizing the product description with SEO content, as we've seen with the title and the bullet points and the other fields.
Okay, this next question is a bit long, so bear with me, Mike. What do you recommend when your competitors don't follow Amazon's rules? In my category, Amazon title is limited to 50 characters. However, all the top sellers have listing titles well into the 300 plus range. Obviously, this creates an unfair advantage when their titles have more keywords. What are your recommendations?
The interesting thing is that it doesn't really make a difference of how long your titles are as long as you have the most important keywords in there. You don't need to keyword stuff every single keyword in there. It doesn't matter what your competition is doing. An interesting and funny result of this was actually something we were testing with a client where we were actually advertising on a keyword that they weren't indexed for, but it was in the product title. So every time the product was showing up for the specific search term, it was there in the ads. It wasn't there organically. And we actually were able to get the Amazon's Choice badge for that search term, even though we weren't indexed for it. So when it comes to what your competition is doing with keyword stuffing, it really doesn't make a difference if you're doing your advertising correctly, because you can still end up with an Amazon's Choice badge or even a bestseller badge and not be fully keyword stuffed like your competitors are. And at the end of the day, when you have that badge, that shows so much more authority to Amazon and to the customers that are coming to Amazon. So you're more likely to get a conversion if you have that badge. So I would focus more on winning the advertising than actually worrying about what they're doing on the SEO side.
Okay, thank you. Next question. If we need to wait until we have 15 reviews to start PPC, how do we drive our first sales?
Yeah, this is exactly one of the challenges. And, this is kind of where you may not be able to follow Amazon's rules and give them exactly what they're looking for. Their recommendation of 15 is really saying that this is the optimal conditions to be able to advertise. But many times that's not a possibility if you don't have any reviews. So part of the downside of that is that you're going to be spending more on your advertising because you're not going to be converting as well. But at the same time, this is exactly what the game is. You need to start spending more on it. Your alternatives are to do something like the early reviewer program, where you can at least get those initial 5 reviews, or even the Amazon Vine program for Seller Central, which I believe is still in beta, but I think it's starting to roll out more. Getting that for your account and actually starting to get reviews that way is the best way to kind of get those initial ones. Even if you're at 2-3 reviews, as long as they're good, your advertising will still do better. It's really that initial 1 or 2 reviews that's really the hump to get over. And the best way to do that, like I said, is through the early reviewer program or the Amazon Vine program.
How do you know if your listings are indexed?
That's another good question. The most popular way to do that is probably using third-party software. The way that we check it, just to be the most efficient, is by using Helium 10. That is the tool we use to check our keyword indexing. But an alternative approach is to actually enter your ASIN into the search bar and then use a plus sign in the search term you're trying to check the indexing for in parentheses. That should show you whether your product's actually indexed for that keyword, because if it searches for your ASIN and it doesn't show up for that key search term, it's going to say something like other search results. And that means that usually means that you're not indexed for that keyword.
Okay, and how do I know what keywords I should use in a ranking campaign?
There's a couple different ways to look at it, and you kind of need to test different things for each account. There's a lot of advertising data that you see in your advertising reports that many sellers aren't using. So for example, it's really important to test your keywords that have the lowest CPC, that have the highest click-through rates, that have the highest conversion rates. Those are good signs. They're showing you what your product's most relevant for, or what it's converting the best for. So if you start using those keywords within ranking campaigns, you'll find that you will start getting more sales on your advertising through that. Your spend might be a little bit higher because the keywords are more competitive, but it's a good sign that your product is already relevant for those keywords, and there's a good chance that you're going to start getting more conversions and then showing up more organically as you're advertising on those types of keywords.
Next we have here, when do you know it's time to stop certain campaigns that did not convert? For example, after 2 weeks with no sales?
Yeah, this is another tough question. And it really depends on what your advertising budget is. If you're not getting a conversion after 2 weeks, you need to look at your listing, first of all, to make sure it kind of has those retail readiness aspects. If your listing has everything, it has good photos, good A+ content, good SEO content, you're following the guidelines for your category, you have the right number of characters in your back end for the keywords, everything's indexing, and you're not getting sales, then it just means you need to change your advertising strategy. Maybe you're being too aggressive on a specific keyword that costs too much right now, whereas if you focus on a keyword that might be slightly less competitive, you'll start seeing the organic sales growth from ranking for that keyword. And then maybe you can come back and get more aggressive on the other keyword that you're trying to rank for that's not converting as well right now.
Okay, and we have time for one more question. Mike, what are your recommendations for using negative keywords?
Okay, this is something that we particularly don't use very often. The main way that we use negative keywords is for optimizing automatic campaigns. And the way that we do that is, we'll be on a weekly basis, we'll go through our automatic campaigns, see what we're spending money on, and then we'll create negative exact matches for keywords that are spending too much and aren't converting, or they're just spending enough too much, and we want to try to get other keywords through the automatic campaigns to see how we can perform. So when you're creating the negative campaigns, it's good to use, manual campaign automatic campaigns, it's good to use the negative keywords. When you're shifting over to the manual campaigns, you really want to be more careful with them. We don't use them very often. We will only use a negative exact if there is a specific, we'll use negative exact or negative phrase if there's a specific term that we're spending too much on right now that we keep showing up for. So if you're using a phrase match, you may want to use a negative exact and a negative phrase match to make sure that you're not showing up for that specific term, but you may be showing up for longer tail keywords that contain that phrase. Those are the two ways that we would recommend using them. But if there's a specific keyword that you're spending money on that doesn't make sense, then you're probably just better off shutting off the keyword in general, or just moving it to another campaign so you can redistribute the spend in your performing campaigns.
All right, well, thank you so much, Mike, for sharing your expertise with us. We really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you, Natalie. It's been great to kind of tell you more about how PPC and SEO work together. And I hope that we were able to bring a lot of value to the audience today.
Absolutely. And thank you to everyone listening in. As a reminder, we will be sending out a link to the recording shortly. And for those of you whose questions we didn't have a chance to get to today, we'll be sure to follow up. With that, please feel free to reach out if you're interested in learning more. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.